I'm Megan Robinson. We're going to go inside the big sky with Colter Nuanez, brought to you by Visit Pocatello. Colter, the big play of the weekend in Big Sky basketball was, of course, Colton Mitchell from Idaho hitting that three-pointer at the buzzer to hand UNC their first loss of the season. What do you think of the job that Alex Pribble is doing in his second season in Moscow?
I'm not surprised that Alex Pribble has done well early on here at Idaho. He's from the Jim Hayford coaching tree, which is basically like the Randy Bennett coaching tree. I think the fact that Pribble is a good young coach that comes from a good coaching tree, good concepts and all that, but also that Idaho has this beautiful new arena that's such a boon to recruit to, and the fact that Idaho, before they fell on hard times, was really, really good. I mean, during the Don Verlin days, Idaho was always competitive. So they have some recruiting advantages there. It's a cool environment to recruit to. And I think Pribble's a really good young coach. And I think that's affirmed by the fact that they've been in it with the Montana schools in their matchups already, and then they just beat the last undefeated team in the league.
Another team in the Big Sky men's side that has been, I don't know if I want to say flying under the radar, but I guess you could say that a little bit, is Portland State. However, they've won 9 of their last 11, a game or a half game behind Montana for second place in the conference. They're heading to Missoula this week to take on the Grizz. They've struggled a little bit on the road, though. So what will it take for Portland State to get that win in Missoula?
Everybody right now in mid-major men's college basketball has experienced serious roster turnover. That's just kind of the way that it is this day and age. But Portland State had as much as anybody. I mean, they only have a few familiar names on their team. Most of the team is new, but I think they've coalesced pretty darn quickly. And even if the faces are new, the style is the same. Jace Coburn loves to play this sort of chaotic style. He loves to press and push the pace. And that's always been a really interesting matchup with Montana, regardless of the games in Missoula or Portland. Throughout the years, Portland State has been a thorn in the side of the Grizzlies because they like to push the pace. They like to get up and down. And Travis DeCuire, Montana head coach, he favors more of a sort of methodical style. He likes to run set plays out of the half court and certainly get after you defensively, but they're trying to extend, elongate possessions, I should say. And I think it's just contrasting styles. So I think it should be a really fun game in Missoula on Thursday.
On the women's side, there's another second-year head coach who's making strides with their program, and that is Weber State's Gentile Jackson. They've already matched their conference win total from last season. How would you assess the job that she's been doing in Ogden?
I think she's a great fit. I often think a lot of times schools lately in all levels of hiring, they gravitate towards like the biggest splash or the person that's coming from like the most quote unquote big time program. Gentile Jackson's the opposite of that. She was at Westminster for a long time in a variety of different fashions, which is also in Utah. But I think that the fact that she has some small school experience is a really good thing. And I also think the fact that she's from Utah is a really good thing too, because I've always thought that at Weber State women's basketball, if you just recruit the best players from the area, you're going to be pretty good. And that's by and large what Gentile Jackson's done. But I think it's good for the league if Weber State is better, and that's evidence. I mean, they already, like you said, as many league wins as they had a year ago already this year. So I think they're certainly a much improved team.
Arguably the biggest name in Big Sky women's basketball this season has been Sophie Glancy. She ranks 7th in the nation in double-doubles, nearly averages a double-double, had 28 points in their weekend win over Idaho. What makes her such a dominant player?
Oh, man, so many things. If you looked at that box score against Idaho, she finished with 28 points, which is a lofty total. She had like 21 in the first maybe 15 minutes of that game. She made like 9 of her first 10 field goals. She also had 4 blocks to go along with it. I think she is like a high major level talent. She was the preseason MVP in the league, and I think that often comes with a big target on your back, but she's lived up to that. It has not affected her at all. She's unbelievably efficient around the basket. She establishes her presence in the post better than anybody in the conference. She runs the floor really well, and she's a great defender as well. So I think she is absolutely one of, if not the best players in the conference right now.
Can't talk about the women's side of things without mentioning Montana State. They won round 1 of the brawl, are riding an 11-game win streak. Coach Binford said that they are very much aware of the target on their back and that people are coming from them. How do they keep finding ways to win with this target on their backs?
Well, first of all, I think they have the best role definition of any basketball team in the Big Sky, men's or women's. They have multiple players that are coming off the bench right now that started. I mean, they have 3 players that are coming off the bench right now that have started in past years at Montana State. They also, though, have this unflappable poise. Their poise and how steady they are is super, super impressive. They do not ride the emotional roller coaster whatsoever. I think this Bobcat team is one of the best stories right now in all mid-major college basketball. I think they're going to be probably getting close to the top 10 of the mid-major poll this week once that's released. Their net ranking right now is like 58. They have multiple quad 1 and quad 2 wins. So you're talking about, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but you're talking about a team that at right now, at this exact moment, has an at-large resume. Will that sustain? I don't know. I think they'd probably have to run the table in the Big Sky, which I think is asking probably too much. But I do think that they are living up to the hype, and they're certainly one of the most fun teams to watch. If you have not seen Montana State and you're watching this, check them out on the ESPN Plus stream or go buy a ticket and go watch them because they are quintessential team basketball.
Colter, thank you so much for your insight this week. And if you want to hear more from Colter, he hosts Around the Big Sky Women's Hoops with Krista Redpath Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, and Around the Big Sky Men's Hoops Thursdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, all on Skyline Sports. So be sure to go check that out.